Yeah. Uh. Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody. It is Tuesday night, ready for Week 15. What is up, boys? Let's just get the party started. It is the Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by Going for Two Live. Jordan, what is up, my man?
Nothing too much, man. The last show of the season, so I'm ready to talk some football.
Yep, and Jamie, what is up, my dude from Ohio?
Yeah, not much, man. So I made 15 playoffs, but I missed out on 9. So that's what 60-some%. Not too good, man. Not too good.
Hey, it's better than it could be, and you know it. I would there's this season I would 66% with all these injuries. I'll take it all day long.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, so we've got a lot to get to. Waiver wire, cheat of the week, real or fake. But let's get into the news real quick. There's really only one big piece of news that's come out today that I want to bring up. We kind of expected this, but Justin Herbert fractured finger on his throwing hand, out for the season. We will talk about one of the weapons later, but let's just get to this one, Jordan. What does this do for our boy? We've talked about him before, Austin Eckler. Help, hurt, neutral. He hasn't been performing well. Then he has a decent game this week with Herbert halfway out and Easton Stick playing the rest of the game. What does this do for Herbert? With Herbert out, what does this do for Eckler?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a twofold. I mean, obviously, when your star quarterback goes down, the offense isn't going to be as good. So the ceiling that they can get to, the possibility for touchdowns kind of decreases, in my opinion. However, I think that it may increase Eckler's passing game work because over the last several weeks, he hasn't really been getting the work in the passing game like we had anticipated when we all drafted him in the first round. But with Stick, I mean, obviously he's unproven. They don't trust him, I assume, when they're calling a play. So Austin Eckler is going to be that safe check down. They have guys that were banged up in the receiving core, and other guys that they don't really trust out in the receiving core as well. So I think they're going to be leaning on their studs, Eckler, and if Keenan Allen is healthy, him as well. But as far as for Eckler specifically, yeah, I think it's going to help him in the passing game, which I don't know if he'll have the potential for the touchdowns, but even without that, he's going to kind of remind me of Mixon. Now, I know Mixon has been scoring some touchdowns recently, but just getting some work, a lot of work in the passing game and getting some carries, and he can provide value, probably more value than when he wasn't getting the passing game work and wasn't scoring touchdowns with Herbert the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Jamie, my question for you is, with the fantasy playoffs starting, what kind of performance should teams expect out of Keenan Allen? Because I have him in a few teams, and I am a little bit worried that I'm not going to get the production that I would have.
Yeah, I mean, Easton Stick, especially this week, short week.
Yep.
Like Keenan Allen, he is that short yard pass catcher. So they might have to rely on him, man. Like Jordan said, they're going to rely on Eckler in the passing game. 100% believe that. But Keenan Allen, man, he's going to get open. That's what he does. He gets open. As long as Stick can get him the ball, I think he'll be fine. Like, we're not going to expect him to be a wide receiver 1, but I could see a wide receiver 2, mid to high end, depending on the game. But yeah, for the playoffs, though, the actual NFL playoffs, I don't see the Chargers making the playoffs this year. Like, they only have 5 games, I think, this already won.
I think that's why they're shutting Herbert down.
Yeah, I don't see him winning at least one more game.
Yeah,
they still play Denver again. They play the Raiders again. They play us the last game of the year.
But who else is playoff bound?
Okay.
Oh.
Remove that comment. You got to remove it too. There you go. Okay. So, yeah, I 100% agree with both of you. I hate that I agree with one of you. I love that I agree with Jordan because I have Eckler in a couple leagues. But one of the leagues that I made the playoffs, right in fourth place, right in their perfect spot, my quarterback happens to be Justin Herbert and Geno Smith. So now I'm kind of sitting a little lame duckish. So hopefully no one in that league is watching because there is one starting quarterback in the league left that's on the waiver wire in this dynasty league. He might be wearing the same colors that Jamie is wearing right now.
Oh, Flacco, baby. I already picked him up. Oh, and Mike's froze.
Mike's froze, yeah.
Oh, man. But, yeah, Joe Flacco, I picked him up, I think, last week before the games.
Yeah, he's playing well, man. He has those receivers serviceable again because, I mean, he has Njoku looking like a stud.
We'll talk about that in a little bit.
So,
but I know you brought Flacco up last week.
I mean, I didn't need to until now with Herbert out.
Mike's back.
I can hear you guys like you guys were moving up, but I was like, you guys weren't moving, but I was moving. And now Jamie's all scrambled, and I can't see Jamie, but I can see Jordan. All right. So, yeah, I think that Joshua Kelly is the one to look out for, too, because of what you said, Jordan, because Eckler is going to be in the passing game. I think Joshua Kelly is going to get more run at the running game and a little bit of Isaiah Spiller, because I'll get to why I think that or why I saw Isaiah Spiller run more, but later. But let's get to Monday Night Football. It's time for Monday Night Football takeaways. Let's see. There it is. All right. So now I can see Jamie now. Jamie was all fuzzy, and I was trying to figure that out. All right. Monday Night Football takeaway. Let's get straight to the first game. I'm going to go to the other game first because I don't want to upset somebody. So let's go the crazy game. Tennessee Titans upset the Miami Dolphins after being down by 14 with like 4 minutes left. They come back and win. But Tyreek Hill got hurt in the first quarter, then got up and sprinted off the field. Then he wasn't able to come out and play in the fourth quarter. Tua struggled a little bit then. The defense, it should have been more. Miami even recovered a muff punt and scored. Then the offense couldn't do anything. But, Jordan, why do you think that the offense struggled at the end? And does it only have to do with your man, or is there more to it?
It's simple. Man, watching that game last night, and you know, you see it in glimpses at times throughout the season. Tyreek Hill deserves to be the MVP of the league, man. I know he won't.
It was so bad. It was so bad.
I know he won't win it because it's a quarterback's award, but Tua, and I don't know if it's just a Tua thing or their offense, but Tua doesn't even look like the same guy without Hill. And it's not like the rest of the guys are scrubs. I mean, he still has Waddle on the field, but even then, he's just not as effective. It's weird. And I know, you know, a lot of things revolve around Hill and his speed and the way he takes the tops off the defense to open things up for everyone else. But the drop off in the way that their offense looks, and Tua specifically, that's whether he has time to throw or not. He just looks bad without Hill. And those guys are 9-4 now after the loss. Tyreek Hill definitely should be that. Like, even though they lost, he should get more votes for this game after seeing how they looked without him.
Yeah, Jamie, what do you think about Tyreek Hill real quick?
I mean, I call him my midseason MVP for fantasy, and the rest of the season, yeah, definitely. I call him the fantasy MVP, but he should be the NFL MVP. They can win games without him. Exactly. And I know Waddle was hurt for a little bit in that game also.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, without Hill, I don't think they're the same team
at all.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're definitely not. I mean, we all agree they're not the same team without him.
I mean,
I agree with you that he won't. Yeah. Well, Well, I agree with you that he won't win the award. He should win it. We know he won't. But yeah, he's definitely going in that direction. I think after, like you said, Jordan, even though they lost, he almost wins more. He almost gets more awards coming or more votes coming his way now because you can see it. And I think that could end up even more if, let's just say he can't play against this week. The problem this week is they're playing the New York Jets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like that defense is a horrible D. So who knows what's going to happen, even especially if he can't play fully. But Jamie, you wanted to talk about the other side of the ball, and I don't know which way you're going with this one, so I am very interested.
I just wanted to bring it up like that. The Dolphins, like you said, they were down, or the Dolphins were up, 14?
14.
They had less than 5 minutes left of the game. And they let them score. They got the 2-point conversion. They got the ball back, scored again to win the game.
Yep.
And I was just going to say, like, you cannot win in the playoffs if you let a team like the Titans that barely score points anyway. Like, I know Will Levis is showing a little bit, but he's still a rookie. You can't let a rookie quarterback score on your defense like that and expect to go far in the playoffs. So I just don't think they're going to make it that far. Maybe they'll win one game, but they ain't going past 2 games in the playoffs. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say about that. Is their defense dog doo-doo.
Oh, no, I agree with you. I think they're more of a shootout team.
Mm-hmm.
Before I throw it to Jordan for what he thinks about the defense real quick, this is exactly why on 2 shows I've been in the past 2 weeks that I have said I am not afraid. The team that I am afraid of for the Chiefs and just in general in the AFC, even before they won this week, is by far, hands down, the Baltimore Ravens. Because they have the defense and they have the offense. I know they gave up points to Stafford or whatever, but when they need a stop, Baltimore can get you to stop. Miami proved against Tennessee that unless your team is scoring all the points, you're not going to win. And with Tyreek going down or whatever, and we all know how that running game can hinder it depending on what's going on there with injuries or whatever, I'm not afraid of the Dolphins as much, and the defense is partly why. Jordan?
Yeah, they went out and got Jalen Ramsey. I know he was hurt for a large portion of the season. You have Xavier Howard, who also was banged up at times, but you see the comeback. It was checkdowns to Tajay Spears and him getting big yardage after the catch on that first score to kind of cut the deficit in half. And it wasn't even like a big Derrick Henry game. Derrick Henry didn't really gash him much. It was Will Levis and D Hop, and like the Titans have one receiver. We know who they're going to, and they just couldn't stop it. So I think losing Jalen Phillips hurt their pass rush. Him suffering that torn Achilles kind of hurt their pass rush because, outside of him, Bradley Chubb is a name that we remember, but he hasn't really performed well. And overall, I think the defense is okay when they have a lead, but last night was just like, okay, an indictment on them and one of the things that could hold them back from going as far as they would like.
Yeah, like you said, I completely agree with all of that. All right, so for my takeaway, I am going to the other side of the ball. Jordan just brought up his name, and that is quarterback Will Levis. Am I saying that Will Levis is the greatest thing since mayonnaise? No.
Mayonnaise is gross, dude.
Mayonnaise, especially in coffee. Hey, mayonnaise is not gross, okay? Okay, I'm not putting it in my coffee, but mayonnaise is not gross.
Right.
All right. So my point about Will Levis is we did not know what we were getting this year. He was a second-round pick. He should have been higher. Some people thought whatever. I do think now that Will Levis not necessarily is going to be, because you never know in the NFL. You absolutely never know what could happen in the NFL. But very well could be the future of the Tennessee Titans. I see glimpses. Yes, you look at the fantasy sheet, this box score. He's QB 15 this week, QB 17 last week, QB 31 and QB 20 the weeks before. Yes, he had that breakout game the first week. But like you brought up, Jordan, there are some plays, and you brought up the fact that they have one wide receiver. Okay. And yes, it was against Miami's defense, who was struggling at times against Diop. But that one long bomb pass that Diop went up over the top and mossed everyone to catch, even though the catch was amazing, I don't think the throw was being talked enough about, because that had to be in one spot or it could have been picked.
Mm-hmm.
So he made the ultimate throw. He can move in the pocket. The thing that I love about this guy compared to certain quarterbacks, Jamie, I'm talking about number 9 in Carolina. And you know why I'm bringing this up. I'm not bringing it up because someone else is bringing it up later. You know exactly why I'm bringing this up, because me and you talked about this before the draft. Will Levis is large enough to run into a defensive linebacker and truck him and try to get the first down. He has the size of a quarterback that you know can take a hit, can put a hit on, and can make – he's not one of those athletic quarterbacks, but he can get out of the pocket and run and get a few yards when necessary. So, Jordan, do you think Will Levis could be the future of the Titans, or do you think we need to see more?
I think he could be the future. I mean, we saw what Ryan Tannehill was at the beginning of this season, and Tannehill had been a starter for like 3-4 years. So I think Will Levis bought himself some more time. He's shown, like, he made some throws last night, like you mentioned, not just that one. He made another throw like it was on a corner route, right over the defense in the red zone. It was a good throw. Like I saw him starting to make some throws. He knows when to run it. I saw Jalen Ramsey try to tackle him, and that did not end well for Ramsey. That looked weird. But yeah, he's showing promise. I think he in a weak division like the AFC side, which is getting stronger now with CJ Stroud and the Jags. But I think Levis, if they put offensive line behind him and some weapons, I think that he can show us exactly what he can do. They got to give him weapons first before we can accurately evaluate how good he'll be.
Yeah. Jamie, do you have any quick thoughts about what Levis?
Yeah, I mean, before the draft, the NFL draft, I had Levis as my quarterback 3.
Yep.
I thought he was going to go before Richardson in the actual NFL draft. I thought the Colts were going to draft him. So imagine him right now if he was on the Colts. I mean, he could be doing what Minshew is doing, plus better. He could have been starting all year. But yeah, no, I like Levis, big arm. When he went to in the second round, I kind of held back on him a little bit, but I still drafted him where I could, and like I'm happy with it because I got that discount on him. But for the future, I definitely think he could be the future.
Yeah, for sure. And the one quick thing I will bring up, and not to throw it around the horn, but just to bring up, because what you brought up, Jordan, and it was going to be my takeaway, but I didn't use it. Where in the world is Treylon Burks?
I forgot about him.
It's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. You got Westbrook Akine out there catching balls, and third-string tight ends catching balls. And this guy's out here, first-round pick, you trade A.J. Brown away from him, and he can't even freaking get a catch.
He can barely stay healthy.
Bro, I totally forgot about him.
I forgot about him too until the fantasy footballers made fun of him this morning.
Oh, nice.
All right, so let's go to the game. Unfortunately, we have to bring it up really quick. Danny DeVito's long-lost second cousin's grandma's cousin, Tommy DeVito, and the Giants upset the Green Bay Packers last night. I'm just going to say it, Jordan, or ask you the question directly. Why are your Packers disappointing us?
You said it. I mean, Tommy DeVito beat you with the late drive. Like, he had to make plays at the end on our defense. We stopped Patrick Mahomes on Sunday night, and we couldn't stop Tommy DeVito. No Darren Waller. Wan'Dale Robinson was his best receiver. No disrespect to Wan'Dale, but
no, much disrespect.
But just we had been playing well. Jordan Love was horrible in the red zone for most of the night. finally put something together late in the game. It's just disappointing. This was a game. I mean, obviously, they still have a chance to make the playoffs, which was something I didn't think was possible a few weeks ago. Still in the 7th spot. I think this would have helped our chances against a team we should have beaten. And then to lose the way that we did, it was just disappointing.
Yeah, Jamie, real quick, what do you think about the Packers overall?
The Packers. I mean, I like the Packers, man. Like,
and then after that, jump into your take.
Yeah, I got a bunch of Packers friends. I root for the Packers. I love a bunch of players on the Packers. I don't know how. I didn't watch the game because I was watching the other one, but I don't know how the Giants beat them.
Well, it's a simple.
Tommy DeVito.
He only had like 150 yards and a touchdown. Like
but most of it was on that last. Like he dominated the last drive.
It's a simple formula. You stink on offense. You give the other team a short field. They have Saquon Barkley who can break off runs, and you let Tommy DeVito beat you, and you stink in the red zone. So and then they score a touchdown. You kick a field goal, they score a touchdown. You're not going to win like that.
Yeah. So all right. So what's our next take? Who we going with?
No, it's your take on the Giants game.
Just on the Giants, like
the Giants game. Your takeaway on the Monday Night Football game.
He didn't have one.
Well, I didn't really watch the game. I just looked at the box score.
I didn't watch it either. But
yeah, but there's one guy.
Y'all didn't miss anything. So
I know.
Yeah, there's one guy that I would love to talk about, but I know Jordan's about to bring him up, I believe. We're about to talk about him soon.
Okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. You can say what position. You can just tease it that it's what position he plays, and then leave it for Jordan.
Yeah, it's the wide receiver, but he was also almost the lead running back on the team.
Yeah. There you go. Oh, you mean Deebo Samuel? All right. So quickly, I'll get into my take for the Monday Night Football takeaway. It's quick. I watched a little bit of the game. I saw the highlights, but just looking at that plus the box score, Saquon Barkley, any doubter should, because a lot of people aren't watching the Giants this year, obviously. But he is proving in the box score and just the way he performed again with an RB4 performance, even though the week before that against the Patriots, it was RB45. But lately, the Patriots defense is showing up against running backs, so who the hell knows what's going on there? And that scares me because we play them this week. Saquon's back. He should be. I think next year he'll still be fine. There's people that are doubting him. Jamie, you see it all the time in the dynasty world that people that are doubting Barkley or whatever. But Barkley is still a top 10 dynasty running back. There's nothing I can say other than that. He should still be drafted that way, even in startups. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he did have that year off.
Yeah.
And he's only, 26, going on 27?
He is. Yeah, he's 26.
26 going on 27, so he still's got about, two and a half years left.
Yeah.
I can see him going up until he's like 31 even. So, yeah, definitely top 10. I might have him around 12. I don't have it in front of me, but he's definitely up there in RB1 territory.
Yeah, I agree.
Jordan, real quick, what do you think?
Yeah, he showed it last night, like you said. I mean, it wasn't a rookie year Saquon when he was breaking off those 60-yard runs, but the skill is still there, explosiveness is still there. If the Giants actually had a good team around him, we would talk about more.
Yeah, for sure. So let's get into the next section of the show. It is time for real or fake. I just wanted to say it like that one more time before the season's over. Jordan, it is time for your real. Jamie already gave you a lead-in. It is a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, but he is almost their leading rusher. Who is it, and why is this a real performance?
So I'm going to just go into it a little bit, and I'll let Jamie take it because this is his guy more than mine. I'm talking about Jaden Reed, the rookie wide receiver, who's pretty much been our number one guy on a consistent basis for the last month or so. Christian Watson had a good game last week, but Jaden Reed has been one of the go-to guys for us for a long time while we've been battling injuries to other players. Last night he had 10 targets, had 8 catches for 27 yards. That's not something you really want to see. But that was like an outlier game. I mean, he's had some deep targets in previous games, deep catches. So I'm not too worried about that. The fact that he got 10 targets is promising. And then he had 4 carries for 38 yards. We didn't run the ball well, but he still, 9 yards a carry. He scored a rushing touchdown, finished as wide receiver 9 on the week. He had a wide receiver 9 finish in week 11 as well. So he's one of those players that his role has continued to grow. At the beginning of the season, Christian Watson was banged up and he started off hot, and then he kind of tailed off for a few weeks, and now he's coming back strong, getting more involved, and they're using him in a variety of ways. I think that was more so because Aaron Jones has been banged up, and once Jones comes back, that may change his rushing ability. But overall, I mean, he's been productive, more productive than I imagined when going into the season. We thought he would just be a number 3 receiver on a team that we wasn't sure how good the passing offense would even be.
Yeah, I thought he was going to be the number 3 receiver on a team that was going to get more targets than the number 2, Romeo Doubs. Like, I wasn't a big fan of Doubs. You guys know that. And I said Reed over Doubs constantly in the offseason.
Yep.
The only thing with Reed, though, is he isn't consistent in playing snaps. Like, one game he'll get like 40%. Next game he'll get 70. Next game he'll get 70 again, and then back down to 40. It's just you need to use him consistently. Like, he is one of your best talents on the team.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was drafted, in this second round of the NFL draft? And Christian Watson, where was he drafted? First round, second?
I thought he was second.
Second, early second. But then Dubes, he was a later fourth, fifth round pick, right? So I was like, well, you have 2 second-round receivers on your team. You're going to get them the ball. But Christian Watson obviously can't stay healthy. So Jaden Reed's the best receiver on that team right now. So they need to put him out there more than 40 to 70% of the snaps. The only problem is he is a slot receiver. They need to – he's like, what, 190?
They have him listed as 180, 5'11", 187.
So, I mean, I don't know if you could use that guy on the outside if he's just a slot receiver.
There's only one small guy that can play all those snaps, and it's Tyreek Hill. I don't know any other guy that you can really put on the outside like that.
So, in that case, just use 3 receiver sets all the time, and then just have them out there like 70 to 80% instead of the 40 to 50. But yeah, no, Jaden Reed's one of my favorite. He's going to be my dynasty buy this offseason. It's going to be hard to buy him because I already have him in like 8 or 9 of my dynasty leagues. But I will actively go out there and buy him in the ones that I don't own him in.
Yeah, for sure. And who is your fake performance, Mr. Jordan?
I got to look really quick. Oh, it's Josh Reynolds. Someone who started off the season playing well, but over the last several weeks, man, his role had diminished greatly. Targets had kind of diminished. It didn't have much. I thought it would have more to do with Jameson Williams' turn, but it really didn't. It's just the concentrated amount of targets that Goff uses between St. Brown, Laporta, and then the running backs. And then whatever is left is what everybody else gets mixed in. So, yeah, he scored a touchdown. He finished as a top 20 receiver for the week, but I don't see that continuing with the way that his workload has been decreasing since week 1. He had a good week 1 and first month of the season, and after that, steadily gone down. His playing time has kind of been sporadic as well, depending on the matchup and whatnot.
I mean, you said it pretty much. I mean, there's not much more that needs to be said, but with the other wide receivers on the team not having a good game this week, the overall team didn't have a good game. this week. I think it was a factor of the other guys being double teamed
Mm.
also and shadowed more that allowed him to be as good as he was. But like we're saying, he's as good as he was, but that doesn't mean he was a top-notch guy. So I don't see much coming from him later, and I would not start him unless I am in absolute dire
Yes.
need. So Jamie, I don't know where you're going with either. I don't know where you're going with one of these guys, but let's just start. Who is your real?
Well, we talked about his counterpart last week as my fake. So I wanted to bring up David Njoku as my real.
Okay.
This is the first game in his career that he had 2 touchdowns. He's never had 2 touchdowns in his career at all.
Okay, so how's that real? Keep going.
So last week he didn't get targeted at all, right?
Right.
But he's top 10 talent. He's got the top 5 upside. He finally has a quarterback that throws to the tight end position. Now, you need a quarterback that can actually be viable for someone to be relevant. Now, Njoku, I don't think he's ever had a quarterback at all, ever. But he's still like top 10, 12 quarterback. Now he actually has a freaking quarterback that throws to him. So he does have that top 5 upside now because he's going to get those targets. We seen it last week that Flacco loves to throw to the tight end with Harrison Bryant. This week, with his talent, he is going to get the targets. I want to say screw Deshaun Watson, leave him on the sideline. Next year, start Joe Flacco all year long, and Njoku would be a top 5 tight end all year. Do you guys agree with that or no?
Okay, hold on. Let me have this one, Jordan. I'm ready for this one. You were right about David Njoku. Okay, David Njoku. I know you thought I was going to give you shit about David Njoku. David Njoku. When I saw it as your reel, I knew what was up. I agree with you that he has top 5 upside. It is sad that we haven't been able to see it yet. He's like you said. He's finally seeing it. He's finally got a quarterback that's willing to throw to the tight end. He had 2 touchdowns. I brought that comment up just to give you a hard time because I do agree that he's had the upside to have those weeks. Obviously not in and out every week, but to have those weeks once in a while. But Jamie, you were doing so gosh dang well. You had the perfect argument. You had the perfect talk. You had the perfect explanation of why he's doing better this year. But then you tell me that you want Grandpa Flacco to start all of next year. It ain't going to happen, Jamie. You paid this mother effer over here $230-something million guaranteed money, and I understand you don't want him to be your quarterback. That's fine. You can say that. My point is, there is no plausible way that Joe Flacco, in my opinion, and I think Jordan will agree with me, there's no plausible way that Flacco was on this team next year. Not even quarterback. Like, you have a better chance of Jacoby Brissett coming back and being your starter than Joe Flacco
as the quarterback.
Oh, I know you would rather. I mean, honest truth, I know he struggled this year or whatever. I don't think you're too far off from saying that you would take a developing DTR.
Yeah, that just hurts our weapons, honestly.
No, I know, but I'm saying over Watson is what I'm saying.
Oh,
okay, so this is the one that I'm interested to see how you turn this. I don't know how you're flipping this exactly, but who is your fake?
All right, so my fake is Bryce Young for multiple reasons. One, he's a fake number 1 overall pick.
Okay.
There's no way a quarterback like him, like getting hyped up all off season with the strong arm that he has, can possibly be this bad. So I believe it has. Like, at what point do we look at what's around him?
We did. They fired Frank
Exactly.
Reich.
So it's got to be coach related. So, like, remember how bad Trevor Lawrence was his rookie year under Urban Meyer?
Yes.
Then he got rid of Urban Meyer. Then he took a
coach.
step forward, and we're still seeing improvements from Trevor Lawrence in his third year, right?
Yeah.
So I don't want to say Young is horrible because he's only putting what 7, 8, 9 points a game. That's less than Jacoby Brissett's been putting up when he started for the Browns last year. So, but Young, don't give up on him. If you have him in Dynasty, just hold him. Don't sell him for pennies on the dollar because they're gonna bring in like a new coach around him next year. Hopefully we see him develop. I was never a Young fan anyway, but he has to be better than what he is doing right now. There's no way, like even under Frank Reich, that you can be this bad of a quarterback taking with the number 1 pick overall.
Yeah. The fake number 1 pick thing still has me laughing. But I think the Panthers kind of. I think it's more of a highlight on it because of who was taken after him. The way that Stroud has looked with a first year coach, I think makes the Panthers look even more foolish. But I think when it was draft time, you looked at Bryce's body of work at Alabama against the level of competition. It made sense as to why they wanted to take him. Obviously, looking at it, and some people had Stroud ahead of him before, but I mean, looking at it now, obviously, it looks crazy. But Bryce was a good player in college. But I think the Panthers kind of set him up for failure. I mean, Adam Thielen is his number 1 receiver, and Thielen is old now. I mean, he had some good games, but we all knew it wasn't sustainable. He's a guy that perpetually gets banged up. They drafted a rookie in Mingo. That's going to take some time. Offensive line sucks. Miles Sanders has been a bust for them, free agent signing wise. So it's just been a disaster all around. Then you fired a coach a little over midway through the season. It's just a mess. They got to get some stability around him. Got to get an offensive line around him. Get some other pieces to help grow him. Like you mentioned with Trevor Lawrence, it was a disaster in Jacksonville, and Urban Meyer was doing Urban Meyer's type stuff that we're not going to get into, but he was doing stuff like that, and we erase that from our memory now because Trevor Lawrence has gotten better. They give Bryce what he needs, and we can do the same thing with this season because I think he still has the potential. It just takes some time, and it's a number 1 pick, and we see how good CJ is. Some people want to rush him, but they're in 2 totally different situations.
Yeah, for absolute sure. Okay, I just want to make sure on something first. All right, so for my real player of the week, it is the cover boy athlete from the thumbnail. It's tight end Evan Ingram of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So in week 12, he was tight end 10, then he was tight end 2, and then he was tight end 1. Yes, the upward trajectory. He's performing finally after injury, coming back, being dinged up. But do I think he's going to be tight end 1, tight end 2 every week? No, I'd be foolish to think that. But here's why I do think this is a real performance. Not only is the trending up, but I do think, and it's going to sound dumb at first, just if you don't know football, you think it's going to sound dumb. He is doing better. He is going to do better the last 3 or 4 weeks of the season because Trevor Lawrence is not 100% healthy. Because Trevor Lawrence is not able to be as mobile he's going to be able to play, but he's not 100% mobile as normal. I think he's going to look to get the ball out a little bit quicker at times, which if you run the right routes, which Peterson has been doing with Ingram, Ingram can be a perfect outlet for Trevor Lawrence. And like his stat line this week was 11 catches on 12 targets and 2 touchdowns. So even if he takes that second, say you take away one of the touchdowns, he still ends up as tight end 1. So if he ends up with, say, 8 targets a game, 7 catches on a norm, he would be an easy top 10 tight end and could easily be a top 5 every week. Jordan, what do you think about
I
Evan
agree
Ingram?
100% what you said about Lawrence's injury. Can't step in the throws, can't push the ball down the field like talking about. And, they had been talking, Doug Peterson in particular had been talking about up until I think last week, Evan Ingram hadn't caught a touchdown. I mean, not last week, but week before last, Evan Ingram hadn't caught a touchdown. Caught his first, and then he caught 2 this past week. So they wanted to get him more involved in the red zone. Obviously, that's happening. I think Lawrence's injury hurts people like Zay Jones, who is someone that gets deep balls. Lawrence can't really, get him out there accurately. He threw for a bunch of yards, threw a bunch of interceptions, but I definitely think as far as Evan Ingram goes, he's going to be the number one beneficiary of the injury, as well as Christian Kirk's injury. So those intermediate routes that Kirk had, a lot of those things, those throws are going to Ingram.
Yeah, for sure. All right, and now for my fake player of the week. Last week, I had to eat crow and admit that I was wrong about a Cincinnati Bengal running back. But the other running back is my fake of the week, and that is rookie Chase Brown out of Illinois. Here's why. And I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Again, Chase Brown was RB10 on the week in half-point PPR. But Jordan, will you please tell me who RB7 was?
I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say that it was this guy named Joe Mixon.
Absolutely was. It was Joe Mixon.
Okay.
In a 34-13 victory where T. Higgins and Jamar Chase weren't even in like the top 40 wide receivers. Here's why I say it's a fake performance. This offense will not be able to sustain 2 top 10 running backs again this season. And when it's going to be a top 10 running back, it is not going to be Chase Brown. It is going to be because it's Joe Mixon. One, because we need it to, like, it is what it is. However, Chase Brown is a good asset for the future. Jamie, we talked a lot about him in the rook. No, you'll hear. You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about him in the rookie process. I do think that he will end up being their number 2 Mixon next year. Chris Evans, who I liked, hasn't done diddly squat. I think Chase Brown has won that job, but for right now, he is the future number 2 back. Right now, this is just a blip on the radar. Jamie?
Yeah, just like you said, he is a number 2. He's never going to be a number 1. Mm-hmm. He was a late 5th round draft pick. You know me, I like my athletic profiles, right? This guy has an incredible athletic profile, but I still was not on him at all during the rookie draft. Like, I didn't want nothing to do with him. I drafted him in one league. And
that's because your late round running back last year was Evan Hall. That's why.
Yeah, and he's more athletic than this guy we're talking about. But anyway, Evan Hall will show up more than Chase Brown. But no, it's just a blip on the radar right now. Chase Brown ain't going to be nothing more than a number 2 in the future. Even if Mixon moves on, they're going to draft someone else. They're going to draft someone else earlier than they drafted Chase Brown. That person's going to be the number 1. Chase Brown's nothing more than like a Darrell Henderson, Myles Gaskin type player. Like, I don't see him being anything on our dynasty teams, fantasy teams. Like, you're going to draft him outside the top 200 players, so he's going to be on a lot of waiver wires. Like, you're not going to want to draft this guy. If you do, you're wasting a pick because he's not going to be the number one guy. Last week, like I told you, I sold him during that Monday night game.
Yeah.
After he had like 6 fantasy points, someone offered me 2 third-round picks for him.
Yeah, because you hadn't seen what he did in the second half.
Well, no, instantly I just hit accept. I'm like, I don't want Chase Brown. I'd rather have 2 third-round picks.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, what did he do all year besides this week? Nothing. So blip on our radar. Like, don't go chasing points.
All right, so that is over. Now it is time for the randomness that we do every week. I have this look on my face, not because, but it is the why we have to talk about this. This was one of the biggest upsets. I was at a place, I was at a game this weekend. I will talk about that a little bit later. It's being brought up in my rant of the week. But I look up on the Jumbotron before the game starts, and I see a highlight, and it says, Houston's down, CJ Stroud's out of the game, and pretty much I went, oh, great. But the New York Jets upset the Houston Texans. So why is your randomness of the week have to do with the guy who didn't even want to play after being put in as third string? Because I actually agree with you on this one. The Jets are freaking phonies. Go take it away, my man.
So I never thought I'd be someone sticking up for Zach Wilson, but it just feels like this whole situation has been crazy. Like, we obviously nobody anticipated he would ever have to play this season. We all thought Rodgers would be there. Rodgers gets hurt for snap. Wilson comes in, former second overall pick, threw one pass across his body on a pro day, and then catapulted himself into the second pick. Struggled, but when he first got the job this season, he struggled mightily. He was bad. He was terrible. Then he started to gain his footing. He played decently against the Chiefs. Game started to get better. But I guess the Jets thought they were a playoff team, so they benched him. They tried Tim Boyle, who we all knew that wouldn't work. They didn't even really give Trevor Siemian a chance, which I thought is who they should have gave a chance. But they didn't give him a chance. And then they just, after Tim Boyle stunk it up for 2 games, they just wanted to bring Zach Wilson back in. Like they did that with him last year. They benched him. Then they tried Streveler or whatever his name was. They tried Mike White for a couple of games and stuff. Flacco played. They just were swapping like musical chairs at quarterback. And then they're doing that again. Then when he didn't want to play, that was out in the media, or allegedly he didn't want to play, and that was out in the media. He said that wasn't true. All I can do is believe him, I guess. And now he plays well, throws for 300 yards in a game against a team that's in the playoffs. And then they tell him after that they're going to trade him this offseason. They're going to trade him this offseason. Like, I think it's best for him to get a fresh start somewhere else. I'm not saying he's an all-pro quarterback, but he needs to get away from this Jets organization because they don't know what they're doing personnel-wise. They don't know what they're doing at the quarterback position. So, but I still think they did it wrong overall.
Jamie, what is your take on the Zach Wilson, the Jets debacle? And then after your take, I have a question for you.
All right. Yeah. See, I was never a Zach Wilson fan. Never liked him. But I mean, after the biggest game that he's ever had in his career, they're going to say, I'm going to go trade you. Like, I mean, what are they playing? Fantasy football? Like, trying to get the most value out of him? Like, where's he going to go? Who wants Zach Wilson?
All right, let me ask you your question. Are you taking Deshaun Watson or Zach Wilson?
Oh, goddamn. And
that was my question. That literally was the question.
The fact that this is a tough question for you is just amazing.
This is mind-boggling.
I respect him for his MILF hunting. And
who would you rather be your quarterback in 2024? Answer that question.
I want Deshaun Watson.
Okay. You have to think.
Like, I had to weigh my options, man. Like, so you got someone that I respect for his MILF hunting expertise, and then you have someone else that I disrespect for what he does to women. Like, I don't like that. Like, I don't want to say
know.
Deshaun Watson at all, but football wise, I have to go with
That's all we're talking about.
Yeah, we're not talking anything but. All right, here I got one more question before you go, Jamie. I know the answer, but I have to ask the question. I have to. It's just protocol on going for two Tuesday night question.
Wow.
Are you taking Zach Wilson or Jacoby Brissett to start a team next
I would
year?
think percent, 100%.
I knew that.
Okay.
We all knew that.
And you knew the question, Jordan.
Yeah. We knew
All
that.
right, Jamie. What is your bet of the week, buddy? It's your last time to win us some money.
So I went a little deep this time, a little bit crazy here.
That's not a first.
This Thursday night game, it's the Chargers versus the Raiders, right?
Ooh,
Raiders are at home. Chargers are kind of beat up. We talked about it earlier. So that Easton Stick, I took under at 199.5 passing yards. Then I took Aiden O'Connell for over 175 passing yards. Just because the Chargers, they're pretty easy to throw on. Then I also took Aiden O'Connell for over a half a touchdown. I mean, he got Devontae Adams, man. Yeah, I had to take that.
Okay.
And then I got Devontae Adams. I took his alternate receiving yards at 60 plus. I think his line was either 68 or 70 something. I can't remember. But I took the alternate at 60 just to be safe. And then earlier we talked about Austin Eckler with the rushing or his receiving yards, right? Mm-hmm. So I combined his rushing and receiving. I think he's going to get 78.5 total rushing and receiving over. And then I took the under. The under for the game was like 36.5, I believe.
What did you buy it up to?
I went up to the highest, obviously, 47.5, just so I can get it to plus 1,000. So all that combined is plus 1,000. I put $10 on it. Went 110. Then I made another bet to the same exact thing, but I put an Eckler touchdown. And I know you talked earlier about we don't know if he's going to get that touchdown, which was kind of funny because that's why I did a separate bet. But when I did the touchdown, it brought it up to 2,200.
Nice.
So $10 wins you 230 on that. But I don't know. I think Easton, I don't think he's going to get 200 passing yards. Aiden O'Connell, 175. That's viable. And then Eckler with the Devontae Adams, over 60. Aiden O'Connell touchdown and a total alternative under 47.5.
Yeah, for sure. Jordan, do you have any comments about his bet?
I wanted to go back and look at Adams to make sure that the 60 was a safe bet. I was looking at how many times he finished under 60 this season. It's only been 5 times. So he got the odds are in your favor. Most recently, last week, he had 52.
I had to match up more than what you did, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, Chargers.
Oh no, for sure.
All right, Mike.
All right,
I'm waiting. The last one of the season. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Here we go. So for everyone, Jamie already knows this because I actually was commenting. Jamie, you already know where I'm going with this.
Yes, sir.
Sunday afternoon, I was at last minute Thursday at work last week. Father-in-law works in the same building, different department, the same building. He gets a text message from a shipping company that we deal with and says, "Hey, I got 2 extra tickets to the suite this weekend for the Chargers-Broncos game, and I know you're a Broncos fan. Would you be interested?" So he comes over to me and says, "Hey, you want to go to the Charger-Broncos game?" Well, I'm not going to turn down a suite in SoFi, and I've never been to SoFi. So here comes my rant. This is not about what I saw on the field when Herbert got hurt and Stick came in. This has nothing to do with that. This has to do with a couple things. First off is not the big thing. It's not what I texted you about, Jamie. Not yet. The stadium was great. I get it. It is not a football stadium, boys. It is, and what I mean by that, it's definitely a football field. It's definitely football stadium. But it's LA. It is a entertainment center extravaganza that has a football field.
Yeah.
Instead of being a football game stadium that has other stuff like Jerry World, even though Jerry World has got this gigantic TV that goes all the way across the freaking stadium. I sat up top at Jerry World and I could see the whole field. I didn't sit up top on Sunday, but I can guarantee you that if you're sitting up top, you cannot see the whole field because the way that freaking Jumbotron, it's round. It doesn't go straight across. It's literally
now. Yeah.
It's round. There's no way that if you are on the other side of the field, like the side that you're across, that if you're up top, you can see all the way across. There is no possible way. But Jordan, that is not why I wanted to bring this game up.
Okay.
I went to a Charger game. What color does the Chargers wear?
The powder blue, I guess.
But just blue and yellow, right? In general. I didn't see blue in the stands.
I'm looking at the stands and it's empty.
I'm telling you, the side that I'm on, I could see the suites all the way down. The suite next to me on the left was full of orange. The suite next to me was full of orange. Up top, full of orange. Middle, full of orange. You know how defenses, when you're watching games, and defenses on third down are doing this to try to get their fans pumped up?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen an away player doing that on the field and actually working?
So it's true what everyone says about the Chargers don't have home game.
Justin Herbert did a silent count in the first half. Justin Herbert had to do a silent count on third down in the first half. I would say, Jordan, I will send you the photo that I took on my phone. I would say that it was 70% orange. And when the Chargers were on defense and it was the Denver Broncos third down, I would say it was loud. Okay? When the Broncos were on defense on third down, it was deafening. Okay? The other thing I want to bring up, it'll add to my rant. Antonio Gates got inducted into the Chargers Ring of Honor Hall of Fame on Sunday.
Okay.
LT is the one that, they cheered for LT. They cheered for Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates gave a little bit of a speech. So he thanked the fans of the city of Los Angeles. And it was, I would say, a 4 on the Richter scale of 1 to 10. Right? Hold on, because you know where I'm going, Jamie.
Yeah.
Then he thanked the fans of San Diego. 11 out of 10.
Wow.
It got so loud in there. LA, it was sad. So to finish my rant, I got one sentence to say. LA Charger fans, do better. It was pathetic. And I almost want to go to the last game of the season now, because if it's that loud for the Broncos and the Chiefs travel better than the Broncos, I can imagine what it's going to be like. It's going to be like being in Arrowhead West.
By the last game of the season, without Herbert, they ain't going to have no Chargers fans over there.
It's going to be all red. The whole stadium is going to be red.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe I'll get cheap tickets.
Probably.
All right. So Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Hold on, let me get Jamie's job up. I got to have him do something right about now. Today's show is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Check out their industry-leading best ball leagues with huge tournaments, private leagues, and pick'ems for every major sport. Sign up with our promo code GF2 and get a deposit match up to $100. It's as simple as that. Go and beat Jamie in something on Underdog.
Oh, you can't beat me.
All right. So it is time for the cheat of the week. It is our last time of doing waiver wire, boys. I'm kind of glad it's the last time to do waiver wire because waiver wire is a pain in the butt when you're doing your teams and writing, whatever. It's waiver wire gets tedious. But Jordan, what is up with waiver wire tonight, buddy?
I talked a little bit about this guy earlier. It's a product of an injury. But I'd say if you need a receiver that may be able to get you between 6 possibly and 10 fantasy points on a given week, it's Zay Jones. He had 14 targets. He had 14 targets last week against the Browns, but that stout defense, held him to 5 catches for 29 yards. But the Jaguars are going to throw. He's going to be hurt a little bit by Lawrence not being able to get those deep shots. But, I mean, he had 14 targets. Anytime a receiver can get some work like that on an offense that can move the ball, I think is worth picking up. According to Fantasy Pros, he's 27% on ESPN, 29% on Yahoo. He had 8 targets the week before Cincinnati, just not a lot of he had 5 catches for 78 yards on 8 targets against Cincinnati, and then 5 catches for 29 yards on 14 targets against Cleveland. So he's had 22 targets the last 2 weeks. He's worth picking up. Another person, Josh Palmer, was activated off of IR. Now I know Easton Stick is not a quarterback and not Justin Herbert, but I mean Palmer was undoubtedly the second receiver after Mike Williams got injured. So he may have some value, may not. It's worth just putting him on your bench just to see who Stick or however you pronounce his name favors moving forward.
Absolutely. Jamie, is there anyone you want to talk about that he brought up, or you just want to go straight?
Yeah, Zay Jones, though, because we saw in the beginning of the year, the first 2 games, he was actually getting targeted more than Chris Kirk was, right? And like you said, if you want to get 6 to 10 points, I think he can get you to like 12 to 15 points, honestly, especially with the 14 targets. Like, give him 8 targets, and he can get you 15 points. That's just the kind of receiver he is. But yeah, without Herbert, I don't know if I want to start Josh Palmer.
True.
He was a pickup for me like last week, even the week before when I heard he was coming back. But without Herbert, it's going to be hard to just pick him up and play him. I don't think I would do that.
Right.
All right, who are yours, Jamie?
Mine is a guy. I'm taking it all the way back. OBJ, man, he looked actually pretty dang good, and he got 14 targets, right, or something like that.
Yeah,
and I think he only caught he got 10 targets. I think he only caught 4 of them. But those 4 targets that he caught, I don't know if you've seen them, but go back and watch, man. Like, it was vintage OBJ.
Yeah, it was some difficult catches.
Yes, and then he got touchdowns, and I'm starting him. Like, I have him in a couple leagues, and I'm actually going to start him as my number 3 receiver. And luckily, if I had to put him in my flex, I'd be so happy about that. Another guy with injury to Alexander Madison, especially, I am starting Ty Chandler. I like Ty Chandler better than Madison anyway. But now that Madison,
we know.
You like the water. You like the water boy better than you like freaking.
Yeah. Now that he's hurt, he's got that high ankle sprain. He could possibly be out the rest of the playoffs for us. And if you look at the schedule, the schedule's cake, man. They got Cincinnati coming up. Like they're one of the worst. Then I think they got the Packers one of the weeks. But yeah,
Don't do that to Jordan.
Well, I'm just saying, like if like you think about it, they brought in what's his name? Cam Akers to replace Madison. Then he got hurt. Like they've been looking to replace Madison all year long, and now that he's actually hurt, like you actually have a guy that's going to get all the work. He can catch passes out of the backfield. He can run the ball. I'm looking forward to starting him this week, and I think he could be an RB2 for your team, not even just a flex.
Yeah, Jordan.
Yeah, I like the Chandler call for sure. And Odell's definitely looked like he's turning back the clock. I had him on a couple of teams, but I was scared to start him. But after his last couple of performances, I feel more confident in starting him if I need to. The Chandler thing, I'm hoping Madison doesn't do us like Derek Carr did us this past week, which is we thought all week he was going to be hurt, and then he cleared and played stinks up the joint. So if Madison somehow gets past this ankle sprain, he's going to suck, but you can't do anything with Chandler at that point.
Yeah, kind of like what Jerome Ford did to us when we thought
Exactly.
All right, so my two, both actually kind of funny, same game. First one is off of Jordan's kind of, and that is, I can't believe I'm bringing this up. I even put it in the, if you look, Jamie, it was for you. I even put it in the show sheet, put his name, and then it said, I know, because all offseason I said, this guy is overrated. He's not a hands catcher. He's not very good. He's not as good of a wide receiver as people want to think he is. And that is QJ. That is Quentin Johnston of the LA Chargers. Yes, Palmer is coming back. I understand that. But just like Jordan's point with Palmer, you don't know who it's going to be with Stick. You got to get him now because you might as well get him now because if you wait too long, you might not be able to get him. But here's the thing. Who do wide receivers and running backs, any position really, that are struggling or not playing a lot, normally practice with during the week? The number 2 quarterback. Quentin Johnston had 3 catches on 4 targets last week. All 4 targets were from Easton Stick. I don't know the answer to this. It is a question that I want answered on Thursday night, and that is he one of those guys that Easton is going to target because of the rapport they maybe have already forged on the practice field? Because if Stick does have time every once in a while, because that offensive line is kind of crappy, besides Rashawn Slater, Quentin can run the 9 route. Quentin can run the deep route. One of the passes that he caught was a deep bomb down to like the 5-yard line, and it's the one that Eckler ended up getting a touchdown on. So that's why I think Quentin Johnston is at least a pickup and see what happens there. A running back that I think needs to be picked up because the running back position is ugly, boys. We all know it. I mean, I'm still in the playoffs starting Kenneth Gainwell in one league because the running back situation is that awful. Okay. So the running back that I'm saying is because of an injury as well, just like you were saying with your guy or with Madison Jordan about hopefully he doesn't dupe us. Luckily, I do not think that Josh Jacobs is going to dupe us. He got injured on Sunday. He is playing on a short week on Thursday night. There is a chance that he does not play. If Josh Jacobs does not play, I do think they're going to split the load a little bit with Amir Abdullah getting the passing downs, but with volume alone in the running game, because like we all know, neither team has a great offense besides freaking Devontae Adams. The Raiders don't have diddly poop. So I do think that Zamir White is a play because of the injuries and at least a pickup to see what happens. Jamie.
Yeah, I mean, right now, even if you don't need a Zamir White or a Ty Chandler, play defense, man, because you're facing people in the playoffs that might need these guys. So if you have a receiver, like a fifth, sixth receiver that you're not going to use, drop them, pick up these running backs because you know your opponents are going to pick them up. And if they play them and Zamir White does score 15, 20 points and beat you because of it, you're going to be hitting yourself being like, man, I should have picked them up. Like, even if you don't play them, pick them up, see what happens.
Yep. Jordan?
I agree, but I just want to get one thing off my chest as far as playoffs. Commissioners out there, please tell the managers in your leagues who are not competing in the playoffs not to be using the darn waiver wire. That nothing aggravates me more than when someone who has nothing to play for is using the waiver wire and ruining things for teams that are still competing. That is like so aggravating to me.
Unless you have
like something for last place, but a lot of times these leagues don't, and guys just picking up people
Just
because
to
they're
be
trying
dudes.
to. And I don't even know if it's that they're like trying to win a consolation matchup that means nothing. Like, just let it go. You had your chance.
100%.
Also, I got one more waiver wire person, Roshan Johnson.
Great one, dude.
Oh my God, that was absolutely amazing. I did not realize. Oh, that was amazing.
I'll tell you why, because they're playing the Browns this week, right? The Browns, what do? They pass rush. Who is the Bears' pass rushing running back? It's Roshan Johnson. So he's going to be in there. He's going to be pass blocking. They could dump off passes to him. So I know it's a messy situation with the Bears right now because 1 week it is Roshan, 1 week it is Foreman. Like, there's 70% of the rushes go to this guy. Then the next week they put 70% on this guy. But if you look at defense, the Browns do pass rush a lot. So they're going to need to put Roshan in there. So let's see.
All right, hold on.
We're going to have to do a special show next week.
No, here we go. Be quiet. Here's the thing. You want to know how? No, you want to know how? Okay, we know we give you crap about Jacoby Brissett and Roshan.
Yep.
But you want to know how you know it's unhealthy? I thought it was unhealthy when you put your freaking first round pick up for grabs in SFB. Okay, I knew it was unhealthy then, but when you're literally able and willing, able's not even the word, Jordan, because I know that's why you were looking. It's not even the able fact. It's the fact that you're willing to sit there and make an argument about him being picked up in week 15 off of somebody making a joke about you. That's the best part about it. And that's why I love the fact that you are so honed in on it, because no matter what the bid
I'm
is.
not the only one. There's so many people in this industry that even said that this week. They go pick up Roshan.
Hell no. You can't play him.
Fantasy Pros podcast from either today or yesterday. I guarantee they'll talk about picking up Roshan just to block someone from doing it.
Okay. Blocking other people from doing it is different than playing his ass.
You can't play him.
No, you're not playing him, but you're not playing Herbert or you're not playing Foreman either.
With the performance that Roshan had last week, I might encourage the person I'm playing against to go pick him up and play him. Like that. You can't. You've been right about. You was right about Christian Kirk. You was right about Jaden Reed. You was right about other guys, but you got to take the L on this one. It's week 15. You got to take the L on this one.
He ain't doing it yet. He might next year, but not this year.
Not one performance. He was RB8 after week 1. Holding on to it. I'm holding on to that performance.
We don't even know what it's going to be called. It's going to be one of those things that you just get a glass. You're going to have glasses, and it's going to have like a video screen. But in 20 years, our video glasses are going to ring. We're going to pick them up, put them on our head, and it's Jamie going to go, "Did you see freaking Roshan Johnson play flag football at the Pro Bowl?"
Hall of Famer.
Oh, that's the first time you've ever said that. And I'm just going to say it for Jordan and for you. That's the perfect way to freaking sum up the season because we don't need you giving that advice. All right. So let's throw it around. It was a great season, great show. It was actually a fun show, giving each other credit about stuff. Jamie, why don't you give your last sign off of the season and give a random take for week 15 that does not have to do with either Jacoby Brissett or Roshan Johnson.
Oh, geez, random take.
It could be anything. Just
Okay.
it's our last show.
All right. Well, I'm just want to say I'm looking forward to our off-season banter during the show. We'll be here during the summer.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you can find me at Jamie Perogue right here at Going for Two, all over. A random take. I'm going to say that Jerick McKinnon is going to be a top 15 running back this week.
Hallelujah. Jimmy said something smart. Woohoo! All right, hold on really quick. Before Jordan goes, this actually is perfect for what we were just talking about. Hey, guys, who should I pick up? Non-PPR. Ty Chandler, Tajay Spears, Chase Brown, or Zamir White?
Oh, Chandler, 100%. Chandler, no doubt.
Especially because non-PPR.
Yeah. Go back about 10 minutes. You'll see why we talked about him.
I mean, if it's Chandler and then Zamir White, because if he doesn't catch the passes, then it doesn't matter for non-PPR. But exactly. Yeah, you can find me on the X at JArsenal89. This week I'm looking at. I think this ain't no hot take, but I think the Eagles get back on track. Hurts has a huge game, and we're not worried about the Eagles anymore after Monday night.
Nice.
I do agree with you there. You know where to find me. Drop the mic FF. Find me on the X. Find me on the blue thing, whatever you want to call it. Like Jamie said, we will get back going probably not too far after the Super Bowl. We'll figure that out, and we'll let everyone know. But you'll see us all the way through the offseason. And my random take is, and it has to do with my team, but I'm not saying it just because it's my team. I really do believe this. They're going to do their best effort to get Mr. Travis Kelce finally involved in this offense because they need the win more than anything, and I don't care what that takes. It means that Travis Kelce needs to be involved, even if that is to get other players wide open. And I can't believe I've gone a full hour and 17 minutes and 42 seconds without saying this. So I will say it so I don't have another rant. Kadarius Toney, learn how to freaking line up. Put your feet where they belong. It's your fault. And I will say this because I never say this. Patrick Mahomes, you are wrong. That was offsides, and it should have been called. It was a penalty.
So,
yes.
All Tony had to do was just look at the ref and be like, am I good? And they would have told him back up. He didn't even check with the ref. That's the issue.
It's so... And then the thing is, the other thing, before I let Jamie have a chime in on it real quick before we end the show, the other thing that drives me nuts is they act like because of this great play, that was all ad-lib. It wasn't this drawn up as it was a cool play. The flag was thrown before the play. It wasn't like the play was made and then, all of a sudden there's a late flag. The flag was laying on the field. The TV channel, the CBS, already had the graphic for the flag up before Tony got into the end zone.
Yep. I can't say much more about that, man.
I'm sick of the Chiefs community blaming Tony for the loss, or saying blaming the refs for the loss. No, blame your wide receiver and send him back to freaking New York where he belongs.
Yeah,
all right.
Patrick Mahomes, he did need to chill out though. He was crazy on the sideline.
Oh, he was wrong.
Never seen like that before in my life.
No, that's the thing. I think he's just getting frustrated because everything that's happening, and it was that was the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
All right. For Jamie, one more, huh? Yeah, Jordan?
Oh, I was just going to say, good luck to everybody in the playoffs. Obviously, it's our last show. Merry Christmas to everybody. So let's get some championships.
Let's do it. For Jamie, for Jordan, I'm Mike. Have a good rest of the season, and you always know how I end it. Peace out.
Peace. Roshan 2004.